It's Megan Trainor. Made you look on 947, 17 minutes after 3 o'clock. Welcome. It's 947 Drive with Thando. We are joined by prolific, incredible actor, both on stage, on television. You grew up watching him, and now you can watch him on both mediums. Ladies and gentlemen, Tumisho Masha is in the building. Yes, Tumisho, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. You know, you're my daughter's favorite radio station. She's
Aww.
like 7 years old, so I'm going to be the coolest dad ever.
So, I mean, did she ask you to say that? Does she know you're going to say that?
She doesn't even know I'm going to be here, but I'm going to tell her. And she's going to be like, why did you take me?
Yes. I mean, you're doing really amazing work. I was just telling you off air, I was meant to go watch Fences yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Had work last night, so I've moved it to Saturday. But trying to find a ticket has proven very difficult.
That's good news for us. But I must say, I wish you hadn't told me you were coming tomorrow, because now I'm going to be like, I'm going to try and do my best work. And that's the day I forget my lines, like right in front of Tabuti.
Yeah.
I go,
yeah, right. I don't believe that. Let's talk about how you got the role of Troy, because that's not initially who you were going to play at all.
No, I was going to play Jim Bono. I was very excited to work with Dr. John Kani, and we were working, but he fell ill, you know, and it was a temporary illness, but we felt that if he stops and we try and bring him back again, we would have to move it out. And right now, the theater schedule is the way it is. So they asked me to jump in 10 days before the opening.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd been standing next to this guy, watching him trying to go through all these monologues for half the month. And then they were like, now it's your turn. And I was like, oh,
time to shine.
And I was, at first, I was like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then 2 days in, I was like, what did I say yes for? I was so scared.
And that's the thing about theater, right?
Yeah.
Because unlike television, there's your cuts.
Yeah.
And you can try again if you mess up a line.
If it was film or television, I knew I was going to hit it out the park with ease. I probably wouldn't have even learned my lines until the night before, right? But with this, I was like, there is no cut. If I go out there and I forget a line, or I mix it up, or I don't give someone the right cue, we're all stuck.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be a problem. So I was freaking out.
But that's also the beauty of theater. Tell us about the run so far and how it's felt for you to be on the stage.
It's been such a blessing. What an amazing experience to be working with such a talented group of people, doing meaningful work, work that is helping people heal in their family relationships, their relationships with their fathers. Couples are coming through and they're seeing this show and going, oh my gosh, I've either gone through that, or it's helping us get through what we went through or what we're going through right now. So it's been an amazing experience. And I just want to give a big shout out to the cast, who are absolutely amazing. They've carried me through this. I couldn't have done it without them.
I think a lot of us have seen the film adaptation of Fences with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis. A lot of people...
Even me.
Yeah. Was that difficult? Like, after seeing the movie, you're just like, wait a minute, I must play the part Denzel Washington played.
You know, I always, in my head, when I'm acting, I think I am Denzel.
Okay.
So when I watched it, I was like, you know, I could do that. I could do that, Denzel.
A lot of South Africans may come watch the play and wonder, why would I watch a play by an American playwright?
Set in America.
Correct.
In the 50s.
Correct.
Right? Well, I think it's an interesting thing, but if you're coming to watch something, and this is what the beauty of art, that seems far removed from you. So you're like, this is an American show in the 50s, but then what we're talking about, it actually hits home. The fact that you didn't come expecting it to be a South African story about a guy and his wife who are having trouble, whatever, but you're watching these Americans go through and you're like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah.
That hit a nerve, because I know I went through that with my own parents, or in my own relationship, or something like that. I think it's sweeter medicine to take.
I could even go as far as to say American history and South African history are actually not that much different.
Nah, they're just the same. We have a lot of parallels. The only difference with us is that our segregation was in the law books. Theirs was not. I think that's why it's even harder for them to get rid of theirs, because we knew these are the laws we wanted to dismantle. With them, it's a matter of society. How do you dismantle something that's a societal problem?
Fences is currently running at the Joburg Theatre. Buy your tickets now. Hanging out with Tumisho Masha, who, by the way, is also celebrating 25 years of acting. Can we get a round of applause? I mean, incredible. We continue our conversation. I mean, come on. I mean, Matt, are you even 35?
just over the hill.
It's the Backstreet Boys, The Shape of My Heart. You might want to remember that for reasons I will not yet mention. In the meantime, we're hanging out with the incredible Tumisho Masha, celebrating 25 years.
5 big ones.
Of in being in the business. And I mean, where do we begin? You are on top billing.
Yeah. Look, one thing that people don't remember about me, and I want to make this clear because I was cool at some point. I was on Channel O. I was one of the original presenters of Channel O.
Come on with it.
I might not have hosted like a hip hop thing, but I was like more R&B. I was like that smooth guy, you know. So when Maxwell came out, I was the one, you know, saying, and now, yo, what's up? This is Channel O, Tumisho Masha.
Yes.
Yeah, you're about to listen
Yes.
to Maxwell and what. And then after that, I went to Mnet, which was a totally different thing. I
Before
was a
you move
continuity
on, so you were
presenter.
like the Eddie Zondi of Channel O.
Yes.
Okay.
You could say that. You
Okay.
could say that. And then I was like, next thing I'm very like formal on Mnet, and then that led to all these other things like top billing.
Yes,
which came later.
I mean, The Wild, I think that
Yeah.
was the first time we saw a production of that magnitude.
Yeah, of that scale and budget, right?
Yeah, 100%. You hosted the South African Music Awards.
Yeah, in
twice.
2006 and
Yeah.
2007, if you can still remember that.
Then you on Soul Buddies.
Oh, this is so funny. So Salamina, who's now a prolific producer, writer, amazing actress, was like this young kid when I was there, right? She was this little kid. And we're acting together and she's like, oh, she's so cute. She's a little kid. And now she's like sometimes my
Yeah,
boss, right?
yeah.
Which is crazy. That's how things work out.
I mean, more recently, Blood and Water.
Blood and Water.
Yeah.
Some amazing young actors.
If you, I mean, you went from literally like Soul Buddies to
And
Blood
I'm
and
back,
Water.
With people who could be my kids.
Correct.
Yeah.
What is, I mean, the growth in the industry? I think if we were to speak to anyone about that, it would be you.
Oh, thank you. I think I've been around long enough to have seen us coming out of that transition, the euphoria of the Rainbow Nation. I mean, I'm working with Somla Dandala right now, who was the first person to have a multiracial kiss on South African TV.
Wow.
Right? I mean, we
What?
take it for granted. This was 1999, I think, and it was like the first time a black guy is kissing a white woman. So we've had that transition, being on Top Billing, being the first black male presenter on Top Billing, to now it's just a normal thing.
Yes.
And I think I watch you guys, you younger guys who I really look up
I
to.
love
You're doing
that.
an amazing job.
Younger guy.
You just made her day.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing that you've taken on this baton and you've run with it and you've created a massive media industry that we have. And there's so much diversity and everyone's doing things where back in the day you either had to be in TV or radio. You're doing all of them, TV, film. And it's amazing. It's exactly what we wanted to do,
100%.
what we wanted it to be. So,
And I
it's
think
great.
that just goes to show how far we've come. Is you look at the things that you've mentioned, we take for granted. We look and we go,
Yeah.
but that's not different. It happens all the time.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Whereas those were landmark things
Correct.
at the time.
Where show business is a business.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
We're going to speak about the business of theatre
Yes.
in South Africa next and how that has grown. Tumisho Masha is hanging out with us in the studio. Fences is showing at the Joburg Theatre. It's Beyonce, Break My Soul on 947 Drive with Thando. 20 minutes before we hit 4 o'clock, wrapping up, unfortunately, because there's so much to talk about. We're hanging out with...
Is it that time?
Yeah, almost that time.
Wow.
But
Okay.
before you leave, Tumisho Masha is in the building. You won yourself an international award, Harlem International
I
Award.
thought you were going to say I won
Congratulations.
myself an international trip. I was like, I've never won anything on radio. Yes, I won that already. That's my award. Yes.
Tell us about Mandela's Gun.
It's the greatest film I ever made that very few people have ever seen. I hope it comes out one day because it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The story that we tell about Mandela's time when he was starting the MK and going through military training, going all over Africa, going to these different beautiful countries and being supported and coming back and wanting to make this massive difference and then having to sacrifice it all. He had a 2-year-old and I think a 4-year-old daughter. He had just become recently married to Winnie and he was happy to go to jail. You know, and see what happened there. And when he went, he didn't know that he was going to go to jail. He thought he was going to go to the gallows, you know.
Interesting, because we've seen many movies about Nelson Mandela, never
Yeah.
a South African playing Mandela.
Right. And I think that for me, it's important for us to play our own heroes, to be given the opportunity for international people to see South Africans
Yes.
playing their own heroes. Because at the moment, the narrative is as soon as we have a South African hero, we must bring in an African American actor. And I don't think that's right.
Well, now, like you were saying, off air, you're playing Americans, which
I'm
is what
playing
you're
American.
doing.
I'm beating them at their own game.
In Fences. Off air as well, we were
Yeah.
talking about just the culture of theatre and how people generally didn't go to theatre pre-COVID.
And now they're just coming because it's a beautiful thing to go and experience, and they're realizing we were deprived of this,
Yes.
and we could
Yeah,
be deprived
yeah.
of this again.
Is there an immediate gratification that you feel in theatre that you obviously don't get?
Yes,
Yeah.
theater is very addictive in that way because the people, when you do well, they go with you. You know, you can hear their gasps, you can hear their laughter, you can hear their applause, you can also hear their disappointment if you do something not so great. Although That hasn't happened.
Yeah, I was about to say like what? Has there been a fumble?
I
Because
hope it doesn't happen anytime in the last 3 shows, right?
has there been a fumble in any of the shows that you run? I'm sure there has
all
been.
the time,
Yeah,
but nobody knows.
yeah,
We just keep it moving.
Fake it till you make it.
I mean, one time I said one line and it was supposed to be the other way around. So I was like, there was something like, and then I met your mama and had you. Oh, but before that, and then I'm like, and then my cast knows, but the people don't know.
Can you give us, I mean, you mentioned that there's lots of monologues.
Oh, there is massive monologues.
Can you give us
in
a
this.
sneak peek?
Oh, I'll give you one that's my favorite. So death ain't nothing. I done seen him. I done wrestled with him. Look here, Bono. I look up one day and there's death marching straight toward me like soldiers on parade. The army of death marching straight toward me. It was the middle of July 1941, but it got real cold, just like a bee winter. And death reached out and touched me, and just like I'm touching you now. And I got cold as ice, and there was death standing there grinning at me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tumisho Masha. Fences runs at the Joburg Theatre till Sunday. Get your tickets at webtickets.co.za. Tumisho, it's been absolutely amazing. Thank you for hanging out with us.
It's such an honor. Thank you guys for having me
Yes!
here on 94.7.
Yeah, it's
on the
947
coolest show,
only now.
on the coolest radio station. I'm just going to go home and cry because I've achieved everything. This is my 25-year highlight. I was on Thabethe show. Yeah, drop spikes.
947 Drive with Thando.
This is 947.